It's the most diverse Oscar season yet.
Kids walk out of class to protest climate change.
Trump's national security emergency plan to fund the wall.
All of this and more right here on News Watching. I'm Sean McLaughlin.
And I'm Woizero Jarvis. Oscars 2019 could be one of the most diverse, but there will still be controversy. With viewerships at records low, a diverse list of nominees could provide a ratings jolt for the 2019 Oscars telecast. While Marvel Awards contender Black Panther at $1.3 billion worldwide as the highest grossing movie of 2019 doesn't need the Oscars to validate its place in history. The Oscars may need Black Panther with viewership sinking to records low this year. The annual industry fed can certainly use a ratings jolt in 2019, and diversity amongst its nominees could provide it. Starting with this year's most popular film, Black Panther. In short, conclusion, a 2015 Nelson report found a direct correlation between Oscars nominees' diversity in major categories and viewership. The more diverse the nominees, the larger the audience, and vice versa.
A growing opposition movement across law enforcement, education, and public health is attacking the politically charged push to legalize recreational marijuana in New York. Many advocacy groups warn that New York's sudden rush toward legal marijuana ignores how profit-driven corporations hooked generations of Americans on alcohol, cigarettes, and opioids, killing millions and straining public resources. Much of the pushback to Governor Andrew Cuomo's legalization bill is focused on the threat to children, despite the fact that it would restrict to those 21 and over. Cuomo proposed legalizing recreational marijuana as part of the state budget for the fiscal year that starts April 1st. But some lawmakers are suggesting that the program's approval could be delayed until closer of the end of the legislative session in June.
Before President Trump even uttered the words national emergency on Friday, there was a lot of talk about legal challenges. Trump clearly anticipates a court fight and is looking to the new hardline conservative Supreme Court majority for help. According to the Brennan Center for Justice, presidents have declared national emergency over 60 times, including Trump, since the power was codified in 1976. He does have broad power under the emergency law, but not unlimited power, since it is not yet entirely clear what precise provisions the president is relying on. It is unclear where the legal battle lines will be drawn, but some basics are clear. First, Trump will have to prove there is a national emergency, and he has already said that things will provide problems for the government lawyers in court. For instance, Trump's comment on Friday announced he insisted that he could do the wall over a longer period of time, but doesn't need time. He'd much rather build it faster.
Thousands of children chanting "Save Our Planet" descended on Parliament Square in London on Friday as part of a school strike movement that has swept across Europe in recent months to demand action on climate change. Demonstrators skipped class and refused to take exams, hoping to gain the attention of political leaders. A special report by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change last year warned that emissions must drop 45% by 2030 in order to avoid devastating consequences for the planet by the end of the century. The walkouts were organized by 16-year-old Greta Thunberg, who began protesting outside the Swedish parliament last fall, and Greta went on to address the United Nations climate talks in December, declaring that our political leaders have failed us. The students, many with the support of parents and even some teachers who also joined the march, said they wanted to get the message across that just because they're too young to vote does not mean that they shouldn't be heard.
Well, origami-inspired solar panel can start generating renewable electricity from your window. This unique origami-inspired solar panel has the potential to turn windows into a source of electricity for any apartment dweller. For urban residents and buildings implementing renewable sources of energy can be difficult. Researchers have tried building solar panels out of various materials so they can be placed in front of windows, but this generally leads to a large decrease in natural lighting in exchange for limited energy generation. Solagami, on the other hand, is a solar panel that works similarly to shutter blinds so that the light can still be allowed to pass through a window. Furthermore, the folded design of the system has an increased surface area, which results in greater energy production. Although the cost of each Solagami system is yet to be determined, the simplicity of manufacturing the panels and their inexpensive material is likely to be fairly cheap for consumers.
An English safari park says a rare Amur tiger has been killed in a fight with 2 other tigers. Longleat Safari Park said Wednesday that a female tiger, Cherie, died in a fight Tuesday after she entered an enclosure where a pair of mating tigers were being kept. After an investigation to determine how she managed to enter the enclosure through an unlocked door, Longleat came to the conclusion, per the BBC, that during the process of moving the tigers between the various door paddocks, a door connecting the 2 areas opened, which meant Cherie was able to gain access to the same outdoor area as the 2 other tigers. The safari park added that the tiger's keepers are extremely distraught over Cherie's death, and Cherie had spent 12 of her 13 years in the park, and Amur tigers are an endangered species with as few as 500 left in the wild.
Authorities say a man accidentally ran over and killed his wife in the driveway of their Pennsylvania home. Palmer Township police say the accident occurred around 3 p.m. Thursday, moments after 66-year-old Deborah Mitchell got out of the car. Mitchell was walking towards the back of the vehicle when she apparently fell, possibly due to medical problems. Authorities say her husband, 66-year-old Terry Mitchell, was unaware she had fallen and ran over her as he backed out of the driveway. Deborah Mitchell was pronounced dead at the scene. Her husband was not injured.
On to some lighter news. Valentine's Day may be a day of romance for some, but for others, it might just be a day of loneliness, which is why Seth Stewart has spent the last 7 years making sure that local widows, single women, and military spouses in Spokane, Washington are not forgotten during the holiday. Every morning on Valentine's Day, Stewart and his brothers deliver single red roses to the homes of women who had lost their husbands or spouses or boyfriends or significant others overseas or lost them or had been deployed overseas. The 28-year-old Stewart keeps a list of all the women and mothers in his area who he delivers to every year. In the leading weeks up to the holiday, Stewart asks Facebook readers to send him the additional names of women who might need a pick-me-up so he can add them to the list. Stewart says that he and his brothers generally deliver between 400 and 500 red roses every year with the help of a delivery driving team. But they are hoping to deliver many more roses in the years to come, especially after witnessing the emotional impact that is had on its recipients.
Well, Sean, I hope next year I make that list because I didn't receive not one thing for this Valentine's Day.
I know. Where's my red rose?
Ridiculous. Right? Well, coming up on News Watching, we have weather weekend forecast with Sarah Jackson.
When is spring going to get here?
Oh, I hope it comes soon. All on News Watching.